Hi Ansh. Okay, up to the last video we covered the topic of reflection, and yesterday just we conducted a test for 20 marks, and you are not attempted properly. Maybe you are not prepared well. So before exam or test, you just give some time for the preparation. Otherwise, you cannot be remember the topics or the definitions or the formulas or the derivations. So you compulsory refer the videos or maybe notes before the test. Great. And regarding the questions what I given in the test, it is not complicated direct questions, and I given the topics what we covered, and you are not attempted properly, and you are not even written the SI unit of power also, right? SI unit of optical power is a diopter, and it's a definition reciprocal of focal length. So not even written these two lines also means you are not referred before exam. You're not prepared. You're not seeing the notes also. So whatever it is, but you give the time for the preparation because it is physics, not like any stories. Once we are heard, we can remember for a long time. No, it's not like that. You have to refer daily and before exam compulsory. Okay, we'll make one more test after these 3 days. Okay, we'll intimate, and I'll intimate to your parent, your father, and also for you. Okay, there also we can have again 20 marks, and including this syllabus and previous one also. Okay, we'll see that afterwards. So, anyways, okay, we completed or we concluded the topic of reflection in the last video. Or, okay, now I'll give the topic or the difference between these curved mirrors. They are nothing but concave mirror and convex mirror. So concave mirror, convex mirror, what are the differences and where we can use these mirrors? Okay, it is one of the important information. And here already I written on the board. Just observe and see the board. Concave mirror, convex mirror. So concave mirror is, it is a converging mirror. What do you mean by that? So whenever the light rays are incident on that concave mirror, after interaction of that mirror, the light rays are reflected and they will be make intersection at a point. They will be come closer and intersect at a point. So because of that, they are called converging. Converging means they are coming closer. That is the meaning. So after reflection from the mirror, the reflected rays are coming together and they will be getting intersecting. Okay, right. So because that, it is called converging mirror. And I drawn a ray diagram just for example, right? So converging means after reflection, the rays must be come closer. That is the meaning. Okay. Similarly, we can have concave mirror is a diverging mirror. Diverging. So diverging means move away. So after the reflection or reflected rays from the convex mirror, they are moves away. So here also I drawn a ray diagram. See, you can observe in the ray diagram. These two rays are coming from infinity, so that these two are parallel to the principal axis, and here we have the pole. After interaction of these rays with this convex mirror, these reflected rays, you observe their directions. They are moving away. They will move away. They will never intersect. But if you extended backward, these rays, divergent rays, are supposed to be starting from at a intersection point where you can get that point is called focus. Because these rays are coming from where? From infinity. So whenever a ray of light is coming from infinity, after interaction of these mirrors, the intersection point must be at focus. That point only we can call as a focus. The definition I given, right? So this is diverging mirror. This is converging mirror. That is the one difference. And one more difference is this concave mirror is always it is called as a positive mirror. That means when you calculated the power, the reciprocal of focal length if you calculated, that will become as a positive. So the power of optical power of concave mirror is positive because that it is called as a positive mirror. Right? So this concave mirror is a positive. Right? Similarly, you can have here it is a convex mirror. Convex mirror is a negative mirror. The optical power of this mirror is a negative. That is the reciprocal of focal length when you calculate it, that is always you will get a negative value. So that it is a called as a convex mirror is also called as a negative mirror. Okay, this is second difference. And one more we have. Where we can use this mirror? that both, that is concave and convex mirrors, where they can be used. So concave mirror, so mainly used in the headlights, vehicles headlights, to see the path or to see the way, the road, or maybe any way along which that vehicle passing. So in especially at darks or nights, so that headlights of vehicles we can use which one, concave mirror, and also searchlight, and also in telescopes. So in all these applications we can use concave mirror. And where we can use convex mirror, convex mirror is having the viewing angle is more, it can be gives you more space, a wider viewing field, that is a viewing field is increases, so that these convex mirrors are used in vehicles rear view purpose. Rear view, that is nothing but, rear view is nothing but to see the back side, so that is we can also call it side mirrors. So the side mirrors are constructed, or we can be prepared by using the convex mirror, where we can be see which one is coming from the back side of our vehicle. So that is observed in a mirror. That mirror is nothing but the side mirror we can call generally, and it is prepared by which mirror? It is a convex mirror. Okay, so these are the differences you can be observed between the concave and convex mirror, right? It is important, so make a note and remember about this also. Okay, so the differences are here. It is concave mirror is a converging mirror, convex mirror is diverging mirror, and convex mirror is also named as a positive mirror, and convex mirror is a negative mirror, because their power, optical power, calculated as a positive and negative, that is reciprocal of focal length when you calculate it. For convex mirror it is a positive, for concave mirror it is negative, because that it is called as a positive mirror, it is called as a negative mirror. And one more use of both, they are having the different uses. So that is, concave mirror is used as for searchlights and in telescopes, and also the mirror used in the headlights of vehicles, that is a concave mirror. And convex mirror is used in the side mirrors, that is to see the rear part of that vehicle where we are passing, right? So these are the uses or the differences between the concave and convex mirror. Okay, so with this we can just make it to be close the topic of reflection at curved surfaces, that is at which one it is concave and convex mirrors, their differences. With this we can make that topic to be concluded. Okay, if it is anything left, you just to see your textbook, and anything is not covered, you just to make intimate to me, we'll cover that one also. And now I'll move on to the another topic of this light, that is ray optics, which is called as a refraction. That is refraction. So what is the refraction? What are the observations in this? We can see that we can do now. It is a refraction. So what is the refraction, and what are the observations? What are the different things you have to remember regarding the refraction? And the important definition is there: refractive index and loss of refraction. Okay, right. So one by one we'll discuss, sir. What is the refraction? So refraction is the process of light where the light must be traveled from one optical medium to another optical medium. One optical medium to another optical medium means the mediums are changes. Mediums are nothing but it is the particles. The nature of the particles are changes. That is called as the medium. Right? Means air. Air is one of the medium. Water is another medium. Glass, another medium. Wood, another medium. Medium means here we are taking the arrangement of particles. Okay. In that, how that light is behaving, how the light is propagating. So there we can be observed a phenomenon. That phenomenon is called as a refraction. So refraction is a process where the light can be propagating from one optical medium to another optical medium. There the light can be changes its direction from its initial direction. When it is propagating in one medium to another medium, in one medium how it is propagating, in the next medium it cannot be propagated along the same direction in the first one. So it is that changes its direction, or deviation of the light can be takes place when it is propagating or traveling from one medium to another medium. That process is called as a refraction. right? So it is the process of bending of light or a deviation of light when it is propagating from one optical medium to another optical medium is called as a refraction, right? So here, what is the refraction? It is the process of bending of light, process of bending of light when it propagate from one medium to another medium, is called refraction, right? So this is a definition for this process of light where you can be observed the bending of light can be takes place, or the deviation of light can be takes place, or it can be changes its direction from initial where it changes the medium. When the light is entered into one medium to other, the interface where it is changes the medium, there it can be changes the direction, deviation or bending can be takes place by this light, and this phenomenon is called as a, what is that? Refraction, right? Not reflection, refraction. That means we have a boundary between the any two medium, let it be water and air. So we have the light is propagating from air to water or water to air. It is a medium is changing. During that we can be observed to be having the bending of light can be takes place. Bending of light can be takes place. This phenomenon or process is called as a refraction. So you might be observed in general when you put a stick into the water. When you put a stick into the water, you can be see the stick will be looks like or observed to be, it will be bent. The stick is observed to be like a bending, but it is not bending, but we looks like bending because along which the light can be travel. So we can be see the objects only after reflection, right? So the object which is there inside the water, we can be see that the interface, the object is looks like or observed like a bent one, but actually it is not a bent, it is straight one. Why it is appear to be like that? Because of a process which is called refraction only. Okay, right? So like that we have generally number of observations. So what is the refraction? The light can be bending takes place when it is propagating from one medium to another medium is called as a refraction. Okay, let it be, if you observe here, this is the interface, and this is a medium 1, any medium 1, here it is a medium 2, and these two are made separation or interface between these two is, this is what you can be observed to be have here, and with their light rays propagating from this medium to this medium. This is the interface, this is a separating layer between the two mediums. So when the light is propagating from this medium to this medium or here to here, anywhere, in any direction it can be travel. Alright. So now let it be, if the rays are traveling from medium 1 to medium 2, then you can be observed that, let it be, this is a ray of light. This is a ray of light. Where it is striking on this interface, there you draw the perpendicular to the surface. Okay, this is a perpendicular, you can be observed. It is a normal to the surface or interface. Right? This is a incident ray. This is a incident ray. This is the actual direction of the light. But up to this light ray is having the same direction because it is there in the medium 1. But once it is covered or enter into the medium, another medium, this light is no more along this direction. Maybe it can be moved bent in this direction or maybe in this direction. So it depends upon this medium. Right? I will tell you which direction it will bend, but it will bending can be takes place. The deviation can be takes place. The direction of that light ray can be takes place. So because of that, you can be observed, the bending can be observed in the second medium where it is the light is entered. Okay, now you can be see, let it be, it is bending like this. Let it be a drawing. This is the light ray in the second medium. In this way it is a traveled. So this is the incident ray, this is a refracted ray, refracted ray, this is incident ray, right? This is a normal, this is a one medium, this is a another medium, and these two mediums are separated by a layer which is called as an interface, right? So now you can be observed to be having the angle between incident ray and normal, which is known as incident angle, represented by I, and the angle between normal and refracted ray, the angle between normal and refracted ray is called as a angle of refraction, angle of refraction or refracted angle, which is represented by again small r. Okay, in reflection also the reflecting angle we represented r, right? Here also we are representing a r, but process is different. There it is a reflection, now it is refraction. So here the terminology we can be used. These points I am representing here, let it be, this is A, this is I am taking the B, and this is C. Okay, and AB is called incident ray, BC is called refracted ray, and angle between this AB and NB is called angle of incidence, and the angle between these let it be, I am taking this is N dash B and BC, this angle is called as the angle of refraction, angle of refraction. Okay, and this is actually it is how much it is a bending can be takes place. So this is we can be say here it is, this point is I am taking as A dash. So actually the direction of incident ray is like this, but it is no more passing in the same direction. Once it is entered into the second medium, it is bending can takes place, this much deviation can takes place, right? So this angle is what it is called as a deviation. I am represented by the delta, deviation angle it is called, it is represented by delta. So I'm writing all the terminology here regarding this ray diagram. Incident ray, normal, refracted ray, this is the incident angle, this is a refracting angle, this is the angle of deviation, and this is the interface, that is the layer separating the two mediums, right? So I'm representing this is let it be x dash. So here I am writing regarding all these, where you can be see here AB is incident ray, and BC it is refracted ray, and N dash is normal to the surface, normal. And similarly you can be having here I or delta, that is angle of incidence. So here it is I, angle I, it is angle of incidence, angle of incidence. And similarly this is angle R, which is angle of refraction, angle of refraction. And this angle is delta, which is nothing but angle of deviation, angle of deviation. And x dash is the interface, it is the interface, right? So this terminology you have to remember. So regarding this process of refraction, you have to use this terminology, that is what is incident ray, what is a refracted ray, what is the interface, what is a normal, incident angle, refracting angle, angle of deviation. So these are information, this terminology you have to remember. So in this diagram I reprinted all these terms, all right? So which one is incident ray, which one is refracted ray, and which one you can be having this one, that is a deviation or incident angle or refracting angle, or maybe it is interface, that is separating the two mediums. Okay, so this is the information you have to remember regarding this refraction. Okay, and during this refraction process, we have to remember which variables are changing, which variables are remains constant. We seen in case of reflection also, right? In case of reflection, what are the variables remains constant? We have frequency, wavelength, velocity, all are remains unchanged. They are constant. But which one is changing in the reflection process? Intensity of light is decreasing and changes, right? So intensity of light changes, that too it is decreasing. But whereas in case of refraction, what are the variables changes? What are the variables constant? So that I'll tell you now. So in case of refraction, there is no change in the frequency of light. There is no change in frequency of light. The changes observed only in wavelength and velocity. So the color related to whatever we are having, that is related to the, which one it is? This frequency. So in every medium, the light is having its own wavelength and own velocity. So because of the changes in the velocity, the bending of light can be takes place. In different mediums, the light can be travel with different speeds. So with that, we can have that bending or the direction of light can be changes. So the deviation can be takes place. So the deviation of light can be takes place as the light can be travel with the different speeds in different mediums. Because of that, the deviation can be takes place. Because of that only we are having this process of refraction, right? So I'm writing here, that is important one you have to remember. That is, I'm writing here note 1. Note 1, that is, during refraction process, what are the variables constant? Refraction process, frequency remains constant. Frequency of light remains constant. It is important one, remains constant. And which variables are variable or changes? So that I am writing in the note 2. So in this, during refraction process, refraction process, which variables are changes? The wavelength and velocity of light. Are varied, means changes. Here wavelength and velocity, here frequency. So frequency of light does not alter, but which one are changes? The two variables are changes. They are nothing but velocity and wavelength of light can be changes. Velocity and wavelength of light can be changes, but there is no change in the frequency of light during the refraction process. During the refraction process, there is no change in the frequency, but there is a change in the wavelength and velocity of light. Okay, these two notes you have to remember in this process. Okay, and here one important definition is there. That important definition is nothing but refractive index. It is very, very important. Refractive index. So I'll give you that. Refractive index and relative refractive index. There are two definitions are there. So I'll tell you that. It is important only, that is first one, refractive index, or it is called as the absolute refractive index. So what is the refractive index? What is the relative refractive index? And what are its definitions? So first I'll go for this one, that is refractive index, or it is also called as a absolute refractive index. Absolute refractive index. Absolute refractive index, or simply refractive index. It is represented by mu, like a small u. but it is a Greek letter represented by mu. So absolute refractive index or simply refractive index. So what is this definition for this variable or this new term, refractive index or absolute refractive index? So the definition for this one is the ratio of comparing, that means comparing the speed of light with the speed of light in free space. Because of free space or air medium, the light can be having the maximum speed, but in another mediums the speed of light will be decreases. As the particles of the medium are very close, there you can be observed to be having the speed of light will be decreases. It is the maximum observed in the air medium or vacuum. The speed of light is the maximum, which is given at room temperature 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. That is a velocity or speed of light at a room temperature. Okay, so now I'll tell you the definition for this one. It is a comparison of the speed of light with the free space and any medium. That is called as it is absolute refractive index. But what is the definition? The definition is here the ratio of, it is the ratio of speed of light in free space to speed of light in any medium. It is a ratio of which one to which one? Speed of light in free space or in vacuum to the speed of light in any medium. That ratio of the velocities or speeds is called as the absolute refractive index, right? So here this one, it is the ratio of speed of light in free space or air medium. Free space to speed of light in medium. Speed of light in a medium is called refractive index or absolute refractive index. Is called refractive index. Refractive index. Okay, this is the definition for this one. And according to this definition, I can write mu, refractive index mu is equal to, it is a ratio of which one? Speed of light in free space, that is represented by small c. Speed of light in any medium, that I am represented by v. C by v is nothing but the equation for refractive index. Correct. It is absolute refractive index or refractive index, which is given by C by V. C is the speed of light in free space and V is the speed of light in any medium. So this ratio is called as the absolute refractive index, which can also be written as, C can be written as, velocity can be written as, it is a product of wavelength into frequency. You can also write velocity can be written as here wavelength into frequency divided by, here also velocity I can write here wavelength into frequency. But these wavelengths are different in different mediums, but frequencies are same. Already I said in refractive index there is no change in the frequency, right? But here the wavelengths are changes. I am representing this is a m. This is the wavelength in free space. This is the wavelength of light in the medium, right? So I am cancelled this frequency as both are constant. The frequency does not alter for the light when it is traveled from one medium to another medium. So now I am writing this same refractive index also can be written as here lambda upon lambda m. That is the ratio of wavelength of light in free space to wavelength of light in given medium. That ratio also it is called as the refractive index or absolute refractive index, right? So this is the definition and this is the equation for absolute refractive index or simply refractive index. And you remember it is a pure ratio for speed and speed. In numerator and denominator it is same physical quantity we have. That is speed of light here in free space. Here also it is speed of light in medium. So numerator denominator same physical quantity is there. There is no unit and dimension for which one? No units and dimensions for this refractive index. So refractive index has no units and dimensions. So it has no units and dimensions. No units and dimensions. Right. So this is the new variable you can be having. It is important for the process of refraction. For the process of refraction, this definition is important and this equation also important. Okay, what is a refractive index or absolute refractive index? What is the definition? What is its equation in terms of velocities or in terms of wavelengths? We can have this relation which is called as a absolute refractive index. Absolute refractive index. Okay, and here this absolute refractive index or relative refractive index or simply refractive index, it has no units and dimensions because it's having pure ratio of same physical quantities. Because of that, it has only numerical value, only magnitude will be there. Maybe it is 1 or maybe it is a below 1, 0.5 or 0.4 or whatever the values it will be having, but no units, no dimensions, it has only numerical value. Because of that, refractive index is a scalar physical quantity. It has no direction, only value is there, only numerical value is existing. So because that, it is called as a scalar physical quantity. Scalar physical quantity. So this is what it is called as a refractive index or absolute refractive index. Okay, and its value, the refractive index is different for different mediums because the speed of light is changing. Speed of light in free space is constant, c is constant, but v is changing. In different mediums, the v value, the velocity of speed or velocity or speed of light is different. So based on that, you can be having this refractive index also different. So refractive index for different mediums, I will give you that values and you have to remember, and those are required for the calculation part. Okay, so now I'll write you, I'll give you that information, that values for refractive index. So refractive index mu, I'm giving here, it is first one, mu for air medium or maybe vacuum, it is equal to 1, because here we are having the speed of light in free space. This medium also I am taking as air medium. So here also c by c, they will be cancelled, it will be coming as 1. So that for air medium or vacuum, the refractive index is 1. And similarly, if I go for this refractive index of glass medium, which is given by, it is 1 by 2. For glass medium, the refractive index or absolute refractive index is of or 1 by 2. And similarly, the refractive index of water, it is given by, you can be having 4 by 3. The refractive index of whichever it is, water, it is 4 by 3. And also the refractive index of diamond, refractive index of diamond, it is given by 2.4. It is 2.4. So you remember the first three, they are required for the calculation part. They may or may not be given in the question. So you have to remember the refractive index of air is 1, refractive index of glass is off, refractive index of water is 4 by 3, refractive index of diamond is 2.4. Right? So remember these values also, make a note and prepare your notes properly. Be concentrate and see the video number of times until you can get the proper understanding. Correct? And maintain your notes properly and refer your notes before exam. Okay. With this I will conclude. Remaining we'll see in the next video.